My name is Austin Sanders. Last time I did this interview, I was in college working towards my master's degree in organizational leadership. I graduated July 2020, so I'm finally done with that college thing. I now work in real estate. I'm an operations manager at a property management company. Before in the last interview, I was talking about going professional with football, either the NFL or the CFL. I chose not to do that because my body was banging, like I felt terrible. And I thought to myself, I'm 22 right now. I don't know how any other 22-year-old is feeling, but I know it isn't supposed to be like this. Because the year was going pretty good. The year before that, I hurt my shoulder. So my shoulder was a little weaker than the other one, and I knew I had to deal with that, but it had made a decent recovery. I sprained my AC joint in my shoulder. But I made a decent recovery with that. I got hurt because I fell on the ground a weird way. Someone had pulled me to the ground and I fell directly on my shoulder. And I was hurt for like the next 7 months maybe, or something like that. So I knew in my head, if I just don't fall on the ground any kind of way, I should be fine because my body was decent in every other aspect. So I think about the second or the third game, I was playing pretty well. I think we were playing Furman or some purple team. I don't even remember, Western Carolina maybe, Furman or Western Carolina. And I was blocking and I just felt an extreme amount of force on my, I think, left ankle. Someone had sacked the quarterback and both of them had just fell into my ankle and just bent it. And I had never sprained my ankle before. It was a pretty severe sprain at first. Or at least it felt like a severe sprain actually. When I went to the doctor, they said it wasn't that severe, but I could barely walk. So I don't know how severe they get, but I knew, okay, well, this is interesting. And when you're playing football, you're kind of in you're in a world where it's normal to just push through it. So I knew, man, I got to keep playing because like I'm the best at this specific position. And even hurt, I'm probably still gonna be able to do the job pretty well. So I was popping a bunch of like ibuprofen and stuff before practices and before games because I took about 2 or 3 weeks to heal. These things it took me a lot longer, but everybody's like, man, we need you out there, man, we're getting destroyed out there. So it was really some movie stuff. So I was like, all right, I didn't do shots. I knew I wasn't gonna do shots because you can always do some type of shot and it's supposed to like speed up the healing process and all this other stuff. They hold you out for a week or something, but I think there's a little bit of numbing in there too, and I didn't want to just destroy my ankle for life because, you gotta think about 50-year-old you as well. So I was playing on it. I had to get it wrapped. I had to get taped, like three different kinds of tapes on it. It looked like a cast on my ankle, and then I wore an ankle brace over that, and then I wore my shoe and I tied my shoe up super duper tight. And I was still out there kind of hobbling. I could still move around decent, but like change the direction, everything just kind of hurt. And I was taking like an 800 milligram ibuprofen before like every practice and before every game to really just get through it, which is pretty tough on your kidneys too. But I was with it at the time, and I had just enough patience to get through. I think I had about 5 or 6 more games. Had just enough patience. I didn't know whether I was gonna go pro or not. And then we were at practice, and I remember there's a very physical drill. If you're not familiar, it's called the inside drill. It's literally a drill for run blocking. Like the defense and offense, we both know the ball is about to come in one of these inside gaps, and we're just gonna have to block it. Like there's no guessing or anything. So everybody's just running downhill. There's no looking around. There's no waiting. Everybody is just kind of just colliding like that. And we were doing this late in the season. Didn't really like that drill late in the season because I felt like it was unnecessary. But I was gonna sit out and just be like, coach, put a young guy in there. But I thought to myself, man, what type of example am I setting for the young people? Like, am I telling them, hey, when you're pretty good and you become a senior, you don't have to participate in any of the drills. So I was like, oh, you know what? I only got about 6 plays. Let me go ahead and just get these 6 plays out the way. I should be fine. The guy I was going against, he had a broken hand, and he was smaller than me. He was a little weaker than me. He was a freshman. He was really good, but he was a freshman. So I thought, okay, he has a broken hand. Yeah, you do play with a broken hand in football. They just put a cast over it, tell you to get back out there. But he had a broken hand, so I was like, all right, so he can't really push me too well with a broken hand. He's in for a rough day. So I got down on my stance and I'm like, okay, only got about 6 plays. This should be fine. And there was a new guy beside me because the guy next to me, he was hurt too. So there was like a guy that doesn't usually play, but that was fine. So, you know, they hiked the ball and I grab him and I'm pushing him pretty easy. I'm like, okay, pretty smooth play thus far. The play was coming my way. I just had a kick out block. So I'm pushing him. And this is where everything started going in slow motion. So I'm pushing them, and then I feel the 2 guys, they're on my right knee, on my inside knee. I'm the left tackle. They're on my inside knee, kind of pushing it in. So I'm like, oh man. So I'm thinking, okay, you know what? I'll just keep pushing this guy, and now just get me out of the way. So I'm pushing, because I pushed him back a few steps already. And then for some reason, he gets strong. He just anchors in the ground. So I'm like, I said, okay, well, that's strange. And they're coming into my knee even more. But it feels so slow right now. It's like a slow motion. So now in my head, I'm like, you know what? If I just dive to the left, then they'll just fall on me. We'll fall, and then we'll get up, and then we'll go to the next play. This is the very first play. And then for some reason, the guy that I'm blocking, he not only anchors in the ground, but he pushes me back a little bit. So now for some reason, he just got strong. And now, so he pushed me back. My chest is up. So now I can't even dive forward anymore. That's out of the question. So now he's pushing me back and there's this force coming on my inner knee. So now in my head, I'm like, oh my goodness, like what a rough situation this is. I said, okay. So, well, maybe they'll blow the whistle before anything crazy happens and I get contorted too bad and we'll go to the next play. So I feel my knee just like it's going inward and inward and inward. I'm like, man, if I get hurt, I don't know what I'm gonna do if I get hurt right now. Because we only have about 5 more weeks in the season. So they're pushing and pushing, and right before the whistle blows, it pushes a little too far. Here, I don't really hear a pop. I just know this is really about to hurt when the feeling comes to my knee. And I scream, I was like, ah, and you know, I curse. I ain't gonna curse here though. So I screamed, I was like, ah, and then I fell on the ground. And you know, I'm angry right now. At this specific moment, when all the feeling went to my knee and it just hurt, like my knee was just pain. It was just pain. And, you know, the trainers are coming up to me like, you know, they're looking at each other kind of like, oh my goodness, like, what do we do? And I'm just on the ground, like I'm scratching my helmet because I'm just like, I can't believe they did this to me. At that moment, I hated everyone on the field. It wasn't everyone's fault. I know it wasn't, but I hated everybody on the field at that specific moment. I said, I can't believe they did this to me. I'm out here trying to be a good example, and I get hurt again in my senior season, and my knee is just all pain. This isn't the type of pain, because when you get hurt, or at least when I got hurt, I asked myself, all right, am I really hurt or am I being soft right now? Like, is this one of those pains you could push past, or is something wrong? I didn't have to ask myself that with this one. I knew something was wrong. I said, oh, that's my knee right there. Okay. I said, oh, goodness. So trainers come to me. They're like, hey, what happened? I said, man, everything happened, man. They said, well, it's your knee? Because I'm grabbing my knee. I said, yes, man. They said, well, what part of it hurts? I'm like, all of it hurts. It's all pain right now. And they're just like, well, can you get up? And I was like, man, just give me a minute, man. Let me just lay down here for a minute, man. So I'm like, man. In that moment, I said, you know, I don't want this to be my job career, right? I don't want to have to worry about this in my career. Hurting my body, like, I want to worry about regular stuff. Like, I thought all this on the ground. I said, you know, I want to worry about Tim at work that gets on my nerves because he talks too much, or something regular. I don't want to have to wake up and be like, man, I'm going to have to run into somebody today. And that's when I knew I didn't want to go to the league anymore. It was a bone bruise in my knee, by the way. I had a brace. If I didn't have the brace on, I would have tore a bunch of ligaments. But I had a knee brace on, so my knee was bending this way, and the brace caught it and forced it back. So when it forced it back, my bones kind of did that within my knee, and it made a bruise on the bone. And I just wasn't walking very well for a little while. My knee just felt super unstable and everything. But I mean, it got better. It took like 3, 4, 5 months or something like that for me to even be able to really run. After I made the decision not to play football anymore, I went through a bit of an identity crisis for a few reasons. I have always played football. Like, I've always been the football guy in all of my social circles. So I was really thinking, like, man, like, who am I gonna be if I don't play football? Like, that's just my thing. Like, everyone that knows me, everyone that's met me since I was about 14, 15 knows that I'm a sports guy, and more specifically, they know that I'm a football dude. And everybody's kind of, you know, there are people that that say, oh, I gotta make it, for all the people that said I couldn't make it, or little things like that. No one ever told me I couldn't make it. Like, no one ever doubted this, I don't think. Either people didn't care enough, or they were just like, yeah, I can see you making it. You seem like a guy that would make it. Pretty good, pretty good head on your shoulders and everything. So I was like, man, I want to be able to prove them right. Like, I was really thinking about a lot of different people at the time. And then I thought, yeah, no, I don't really care about them. You know, I want my body to feel good. Because my body I realized my body only felt good maybe 1 month out of the year. My body felt good around June. June, I think, was when I made enough recovery to feel decent. We were still working out crazy and everything, but that's when I felt athletic. That's when I felt like I could run, I could actually sprint. And June, July is when the workouts got really hard, so you was kind of just super sore all the time. And then August is when camp starts, and camp is when the pain starts. And after camp is the season. And, you know, you're hurting throughout the season, pretty much. And then hurting through December. January, you start working out again. You haven't really healed yet, so you're still hurting. February is when spring football starts, so new pain. So new pain compounding on your old pain. And, you know, that lasts until June, basically. So I was like, I should feel better throughout the year. Like, I shouldn't just have 1 month where my body feels, like, decent. And then I decided, so, you know, yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and get healthy and everything. And I kind of had to start over and find out what I wanted to do in life. But I think I'm doing pretty well. I'm finding my way. The world is way bigger now. Like, when I play football, I felt like, okay, it's football, and then, like, every decision I made, it would be, okay, how's this gonna affect practice? Okay, am I gonna have enough energy to get back and then do practice, or then have this game and all that? So I really feel like I'm capable of anything now. So life is great. Life is awesome. January, I made the decision actually a year ago. Right now it's November 2020. Well, like, currently while I'm doing this interview, I made the decision to stop playing football and hang it up November 2019. So after November, I knew immediately, okay, I have a few more months, free rent and everything, because I still have my college dorm and everything. So I just started getting different jobs. I might have worked like 7 different jobs, and I worked them and I quit them because I just had to figure out what I didn't like as well. I think I worked at Walmart. I was a car salesman. I worked in a few offices doing a few different things in different industries. I worked at a hotel, and I worked at Walmart. The hotel was cool. That seemed like a pretty good, like, I was looking for, I guess, maneuverability, something that would look good on a resume or something that had a future to it. Hotel actually did. I liked the owner. He seemed to like me. He seemed to have, like, some places for me to go. I asked for too little money, though. Learned to ask for more money when I started doing jobs and stuff, because I knew I had to get ready to pay some rent, because I never did that before. I now work in real estate. I'm an operations manager at a property management company, and I'm working on getting my real estate license. And I live in Warner Robins now. I didn't go home because I don't want to live at the house. I kind of want to do whatever I want to do within reason. So I was fortunate enough to have friends that were already kind of living in the area, and some of them wanted a roommate. So I have a roommate that used to go to Mercer with me. So we both of us just live in Warner Robins now. You know, the first thing I thought when I was taking my master's courses, I thought, yeah, anyone could do this. Like, this isn't crazy. Like, in a way, it was a bit simpler than my undergraduate. Undergrad, it seemed like a lot of busy work, to be honest with you. At least my undergrad, because I was in media studies and communication studies, and a lot of those courses expanded my mind, or they expanded my perspective in certain respects. But my master's course, I feel like it was just so much more suited for me. But I was really just teaching older people, because I was like the youngest person in the program. I was teaching older people how to use technology pretty much, helping them with some of the like online things that we had to do if we had to create something or something like that. But it wasn't really different work than I had done before. I was just reading more material and answering questions about it. I don't know how I'm going to use this master's degree, honestly. I got it because I wasn't doing anything better, pretty much. And it was an opportunity that I had, so I took it because I knew it would make my resume look better. Right now, though, I'm going the real estate route, which I don't really need the master's for that. So I don't think I'm going to use it right now in this trajectory I'm going now. But I don't know what the rest of life has for me. So I might get into like I'm already going to be in property management. I might get into a project management role later on where I'll be using some of those techniques. But right now, I'm not really using it. I graduated high school in 2015, and then I went to Mississippi Valley State University, where I learned an extreme amount of information in that 1 year. It broadened my perspective a lot because I had been faced with a lot of situations I never had to think about before. I feel like I really grew up there, and after I went there, I transferred to Mercer University in Macon, Georgia, and I went to school there for 4 more years, where I got my undergraduate and my master's degree. That was also a very educational experience, especially in like football and dealing with other cultures. And now that I've graduated and everything, I'm 23 years old, this November 2020, right now when I'm doing this interview. I feel like since I've been done with football was a great opportunity for me. I really lucked out and was 6'3", and a lot of people aren't 6'3", and I was also very athletic for a 290-pound individual. So that went extremely well. I didn't have to pay to go to college. That was a tremendous opportunity. I didn't even really understand the opportunity while it was happening. I was kind of just, honestly, I felt like it was supposed to happen. I was like, man, of course it's gonna happen. Like I'm me. Like what? They not gonna give me a scholarship? But now that I'm on the other side and I know other people that didn't have that opportunity or that just did other things, I realized it was all luck. Staying was just super lucky, man. Like I just lucked out with a bunch of things, even outside of football, just having caring parents, having great friends, just people that had really good aspirations, because your friend group really determines a lot in your life, and I just happened to meet great people my entire life. So at 23, I think I'm very thankful just for how everything is going, and I have a lot of hope for the future. I'm sure most 23-year-olds have like a lot of hope for the future. I think you're supposed to at 23. If you don't have any hope at 23, that's really tough. Like that's a really abysmal way to look at life. But a lot of people have a reasonable amount of doubt for the future because life has been harder for them. My life has been extremely fortunate. I'm extremely excited to see what happens next.